Good morning, Mob family. Hello, hello, hello. Or as we use, all right, all right, all right. Welcome to our Mob TV Kaffeeklatsch episode 103. Woo! Woo! I got sound effects, got cheerleaders in the back. All right, let me check the comments, see who's here, who's not. Say hello. Where's everybody? Where's everybody? It's taking a while because streamer being funky today, as usual. All right, who's this? Having technical difficulties? I don't think so. There we go. There's everybody. Hello, Connie. Let me go up and say hello to everybody, starting from the top. Evan had his coffee ready to go. Smart man. Smart man. I know Michelle had to go because she got called in for school. Who else we got here? Chris Mendoza, good morning. Audrey, good morning. Oh, come on. Really? Really? My comments disappeared again. Can you open your screen, make sure we can see people? Here we go. All right. Good morning, Federica. Let's see. Good morning, Connie. Just in case I didn't miss it. Yeah, the covers from DDD are awesome. Wicked awesome, yes. Michelle has to go to substitute. I'm sorry, Michelle, but hey, you can watch it later. All right. Let's see. I got a few Facebook users. I don't know who you are, but awesome. Welcome. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Tanya. Yeah. Let's see. Say hello. Good morning to Federica. Good morning, Rico. Do we have the link to Steam? Yeah. You mean StreamYard, because we don't do Steam. Steam is a whole different program. Oh, right at the top. I'm scrolling all the way up. StreamYard is acting funky. Here we go. Right after Chris twice, then there's 1, 2 Facebook users.
Mary Beth.
Good morning, Mary Beth.
Deborah.
Good morning, Deborah. Right here after Tanya, Sweet Cocoa.
Paige.
Good morning, Paige. I should have known by the hand wave. Let's see. We got Audrey. I think we got everybody so far. Yeah, I know. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see. Comments. Yeah, the cheer squad is awesome. Yes. Who else is here? Anthony, good morning. Thank you for the congrats on another trip around the sun. Thank you. Oh, let me put this up. Tina's here. Good morning, Tina. Trust me, I was not feeling this chipper last week. Last week. Whoa. Yeah. I clicked on this. I don't know what I clicked on. I know I clicked on one of these to put the link up. But because it's jumping. Good morning, Wendy. Welcome. Oh, streaming. Oh, you have it up. Okay. I'm like, it's like it's not up yet. Why is it not up yet? It's just on my end. Awesome. There's the link. It'll show up eventually on my end. There it goes, Mr. Herbie. Go there, click on that link, let StreamYard show your name. I don't know why for some people it has to do every single time, but even Dolly, our resident Facebook user, doesn't get her name show up. It doesn't show up. So go to that link and let Facebook, let StreamYard, keep StreamYard permissions to show your name, okay? I'm gonna hide this now. Thank you. Okay, we have a few people here, so let's get started. Hide this. Okay, so we have huge shout outs to everyone, shout outs to, on YouTube. So I want to ask you all for a favor, I guess, is that if you know someone who wants to follow us on YouTube, please share the channel. We're trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers. So I need your help to get there. So if you know anyone that would love to join our channel and maybe watch the shows, maybe they can't watch it live, but they can watch it as we record it, because we record all the channels, all the episodes. They can watch the channel they can watch the show after we record it, after the show goes on. Please share the channel. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers. So I'm gonna ask you all to like spread the word. I'm gonna put it in the mob also to spread the word so we get 1,000 subscribers. So share that word, get the word out. We need we're pushing to 1K. That's the beginning. Then we can push to 100K. Then we can push to 1 million. You know, but let's start with 1K first. All right. Awesome. Okay, on Instagram. First on YouTube, we're at Bin Peaches Publishing. That's where you can find us. So share that, and let me put the link up real quick. My Facebook user's on point. All right, the link is up. It should be up soon. Yeah, YouTube, Bin Peaches Publishing. That's the link. Okay, so get that link and share it. We should also put it up in the mob. I'm gonna put it up in the mob too. I know it's up there, but we're gonna put it up in the mob. On Instagram, we're at Bin Peaches. I haven't really put anything up on Instagram because for the last week and a half, my brain was trying to explode out the side of my face. But I'll be working on it in the next few weeks to kind of get up to date with it. So yeah, like Rico says, please follow, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit that notification button, okay? So yeah, so that's we're gonna push to get our YouTube channel kind of bigger. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm glad it looks good on both streams. Fantastic, Chris. Excellent. Yeah, they don't have to join the mob. They just have to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's all we want them to do. That'd be awesome. So they don't feel obligated to join a Facebook private group, because to get into the mob, they have to kind of answer questions. It's not like an incredible vetting process. You know, the questions are real simple. Like, how did you hear about us? What's your favorite character? And I think, are you gonna like share in the room, something like that? Well, yeah, Social Security, bank info. That's the second round of questions. They got to get past the first round. Credit report. That's the first. That's the second round. The first round is the easy round. It lulls them into that sense of complacency. Oh, I'll be part of this group. And then blood type, fingerprints, bank account, credit report, things like that. And yes, we're kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. We're kidding. We're kidding. All right, I'm gonna take this link off. But yes, but we do want your help. I want your help to grow the YouTube channel. Okay, so I really appreciate it. Get the word out, guys. Get the word out. I know the mob is like, the mob mobilizes. When it's time to go do something, the mob is like, boom. I can't remember how many times you guys have made other authors number one just from us saying, okay, let's go support an author, and their books go right to number one. So you guys are fantastic. So let's go get some subscribers, please. I appreciate it. So Instagram, I'm trying to get more excerpts on Instagram. I've been busy dealing with the situation in the face, which is much better now. But yeah, it was dicey there for a little while. We'll get into it a little bit during the show. Zazzle, Zazzle. This is my battle worn hat, because it doesn't look new anymore. So this is my battle worn swag. You can't get a hat like this because this is has Orlando sweat on it. So, but I'm gonna put up the Instagram link if you want to follow us on Instagram as well. But Zazzle has amazing swag. So go to Zazzle, share Zazzle with your friends. The holidays are coming up soon. Maybe we should put some Zazzle stuff up so people can get stuff for the holidays. Will I be putting audiobooks on the channel soon? Are we gonna be putting it? So that's in the works. The audio department, I
would say undecided.
It's undecided. Maybe we should do it to promote getting 1K. You know what I mean? So we're discussing it. We're discussing it. Yeah. JPL, how goes it? Great to see you. It has been a while. I hope everything was good in Florida and everything was good at home during the storm. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been so long. The last time you visited the show, my beard was black completely. And look how long it's been, JL. Look how long. Yes, that's for the other page, the Orlando sweat. That's for my OnlyFans, right? I don't have an OnlyFans. Let's not get carried away yet. How's everything going? How was Nink? I heard you had a good time there. Yeah, everything good. Hope you learned a lot and be able to implement a lot. For those of you, JL's here to remind me, for those of you who are not, but are authors and are not, go look up Author Helper Suite and make sure that you are subscribed and part of that, using that for your author business. It's a fantastic tool. It's not just a fantastic tool. I would say it's one of the best tools for authors out there now. So Author Helper Suite, look it up. Do we have a link? Can we get a link for it?
Yes, boss.
And Author Helper Suite, reader links. But we know that's reader links because when it started, it was reader links. It is now Author Helper Suite because that's what it is. It's an Author Helper Suite. So get on that. Listen, you can thank me later. If you're an author, aspiring author, you wanna have this tool to help you in your author business. This is gonna help you go from aspiring author to a person who runs an author business. So go for it. Nink was fun or something. That's great. All right, authorhelper.com. Is that it? I have one. I have a link. Okay. So all right. So it's great to have you here, JL. Awesome. Let's move on. So patrons. So we have new patrons. Okay, hold on. Let me just make sure we have it. So our patron group is now called the Magic Squad. So it's again, It's under construction. It's going through changes. It's going through improvements. So it's now called the Magic Squad. So you are now all part. Those of you who are patrons are now part of the Magic Squad. So our new, I guess, squad members are Van. This is his name, Van Nebedum. Van Nebedum. Thanks. These are new members. Patrick Gregg. Jeez. Jeffrey Juchow. I'm sorry if I'm mangling your name. Amber Don Sessler, and members who've increased their pledges: Tammy Coles, Wendy Schindler, and Joe Dun. I never know how to pronounce her name. Dungy or Dungy? Dungy. I'm gonna say Dungy, Joe. You can kill me later.
Dungeon, because it's only 2 letters written.
Oh, like dungeon. That's a nice visual with Joe. You mess with Joe, you end up in the dungeon. Perfect. So as Chris has said, Author Helper made him a published author. So I can tell you, I can speak from my personal experience. Before I was using ReaderLinks, which was the name of Author Helper prior to being called Author Helper, when I was managing my beta team, my art team, it was a nightmare because I was doing it through Facebook, and then I'd put things on Facebook, and then they would go to Facebook, and then things would get missed, things would get crisscrossed, it would be all over the place. And then John and his crew, John, Ben, and the crew created ReaderLinks, and it streamlined everything. So if I could tell you one thing, and there's more than one, but if I could tell you one thing that ReaderLinks Author Helper Suite will give you, it's time. And the one thing that every author needs is time, because you need to write. So if it's just for one thing, Author Helper Suite will give you time to write, to outline, to get your projects done. It takes away the work from a lot of things and streamlines it. So yeah.
And makes the business side super easy. You don't.
Oh yeah, because
so
Dolly's using
Excel
it.
Sheets.
Yeah.
You have the most beautiful graphs, bar charts, and pie charts ever. It's super logical, and there's so many options. So
did you hear that? So you get. So for those of you who are number oriented and chart oriented, Dolly's like an Excel maven master. She loves Author Helper Suite because it organizes the data in such a way that it makes it really easy to read. You get pie charts, you get charts, you get numbers, you can go back, you've got data. I mean, if you love the numbers, and a part of you needs to know this, because not only are you an author, but you're also a business person. If you're writing and doing this professionally and you're going from writer to author, then Author Helper Suite is like your right hand. You need that. Those are the names I need. Alcoholic, War and Peace, Crystal Meth, and who's that? Molester. Yes. Awesome. But yeah, Dolly's loving the data aspect of Author Helper Suite because she's really dove into that. So guys, and no, we don't get anything out of Author. John isn't giving us kickbacks or anything. It's just, I'm letting you know, this is one of the most powerful tools that exist for authors right now.
And it's not that expensive. I think
it's
like $25 a month.
Yeah, John, what's Author Helper Suite going for monthly? Do you have the price point? Because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I can't afford it. Trust me, you can't afford not to have it. It's that. And this is not the Author Helper Suite MoB TV episode. It's just that you guys really need this too. We use it every day. I use it every single day. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Constantly. Yeah. I think Dolly's living on Author Helper at this point because it's always open. So John has 24. It's $24.99 and it's $19.99 if you pay annually, guys. So for $20 if you pay annually, or for $25, you're gonna have something that's gonna help you with every aspect of your author business. So it's an investment. Don't consider it an expense. Consider it an investment. All right. All right. I finished mangling all the patrons' names. Oh, whoa. What was the other one? Where's the other one? It fell. Yeah. So I just got all butter shortbread sandwich cookies, and these things disappear. So, if you've ever eaten, what is it, Pepperidge Farm Veronas? Oh my God, these are even better than those. All right, I'm going to take this link off. But just go there, browse, look around, and get on track. Get on that. Because if you're an author, you need that. All right. Welcome, Laura. Good morning, Jasmine. Should we tell Jasmine to tell Stacy that her stuff is on her way? I guess we just did, didn't we? Jasmine, let Stacy know that she has packages heading her way. Okay. Well, that's what we do. We're authors who help authors. I mean, and he's here, but I'll let you know that when I was starting out, John was one of the first authors who reached back and dragged me forward so that I am the success that I have today is directly attributable to John and his wife. So one of the things that he emphasized to me, and he demonstrated it by his example, is that you have to help other people. And he hasn't stopped. He's still doing that. So good morning, Kate. Welcome. Hello. All right, so what else we got? The newsletter. When is the newsletter coming out? We don't know yet. It's in production. It's in production. So for Patreon. So we have new projects. Yeah, new time. Oh, all right, yeah. Jasmine, give that address. It already went out. I hope she's joking.
Let me give you mine.
Very funny, Jasmine. You almost got me. All right, so on Patreon, we have a few new projects happening. So, you remember that romance story that I'm supposed to be writing? That's good. Yeah. Thank you. I got sound effects and everything. So I'm going to serialize it, and it's going to be on Patreon. So if you're not part of Patreon, you're going to be hearing a lot of things about, ooh, did you hear about that episode? So it's going to be an episode. It's going to be serialized, and it's going to be only on Patreon. So I hope you guys don't miss out on that and get on Patreon so you can actually stay up to date. That's in addition to the other stories. But I kind of want to try putting that story there because it's a good kind of testing ground to see how it's going. Yeah. I am writing what I know. It's going to be urban fantasy romance. So it's more urban fantasy than romance. But it's definitely going to happen, and it's going to be on Patreon. It's for the patrons. So, and then there are new tiers.
He's been working on the romance part. The new book, Entropy.
Yeah.
You should.
No, there's no romance in Entropy.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Yes, the relationship between Michigo and Simon has progressed.
Yeah, that's true.
As well as Roxanne and Monty.
Well, there's hints of romance, but
lingering looks and touches.
fingers on lips and things like that. Yeah, I know you're not kidding. Yes, love at the speed of a firework. Meet as life, meet as love. So that story is going to be on Patreon, and Dolly has new tiers. The new tiers are going to be put into. Are they in already? The new tiers? The new tiers at Patreon. So go take a look. Go to our Patreon page. We have a link for Patreon, so we could. All right, let me put it up. So our Patreon page has new links, and it's getting an overhaul. So you definitely have to go check it out because Dolly's checking it out and do all that stuff. Urban fantasy romance, not paranormal porn. No. I don't. Okay. A lot of my kids are going to be reading these books, right? So there's not going to be any paranormal porn. That's not happening. I leave that to John. So the urban fantasy is going to be heavy on the urban fantasy and light on the romance. Okay. So yeah, so it's not going to. Who is it that I heard? There are a few authors. I do not want to mention names because we don't do that kind of thing. We don't tear other authors down. But I know a few authors who kind of took a right turn in their writing, and they were writing urban fantasy, and then they got into kind of like a little bit of erotica, I guess is what it's like. And it turned off almost all their readers, or they lost a chunk of readers. I'm not gonna do that. So no, it's not going into paranormal porn. Yeah, exactly. I have daughters, and they're gonna read that, and they're gonna go, "Ew, I don't want to." Yeah, no, pass. All right, what else we got here? So the newsletter will come out. I guess it'll be coming out soon, right? You have a newsletter in the works.
Yeah.
There's a newsletter in the works. I know there's one around. BookBub, we're on BookBub, so go find us there and just follow us and leave reviews on the stories that you've read, and that way we can have more social proof, because we have a nice group, but we'd like to make that group even bigger because it's always awesome to have more on that. Same thing with Binge Books. Join Binge Books. Again, doesn't cost you anything, it's free. And add reviews, and it'll help, because Binge Book is actually growing, isn't it? So it'll help us, it'll help the discoverability for our stories on Binge Books as well. Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff. Who's that? Who was that? The Papa Orlando.
Mark.
Yes, Mark. Exactly. That's the situation I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to have that kind of conversation with any of the tribe. So no, passing. So no way. So you don't want to give the tribe the talk. I don't want to give the tribe the talk at all. At least not in that context, stemming from something that I wrote. You know what I mean? So this is our Binge Books link. Yes, fingers, naughty. No, we're gonna. So the romance in Monty and Strong is going to be the romance that's always been in Monty and Strong, despite what my partner in crime here is saying. It's not going to be that steamy. It's not that steamy, you know. So I can't believe they let Mark into the country. Really, I just really can't believe. How did that happen? How? You are not paying attention. Amazing. But in all seriousness, I hope you're adjusting well, Mark. I'm sure it's a little different from across the pond. So welcome, and yeah, Montague. Ah, very funny, very funny. Who was that, Anthony?
Sure.
No, that was you. Very funny. Bribery is a legitimate too, especially when it's coffee or chocolate or these things. What are these called? Shortbread cookies? Jeez, they're so good. These are addictive, yeah. Yeah, we're not going into that, Anthony, at all. Mm-mm. Or you, Facebook user, whatever you're typing. All right, let's get into the book and the audio update. If you haven't left a review for Stray Dogs, please do so. Yeah, see, I knew it. I knew it. This is happening. See? This is why I don't write romance, because it starts things like this. You want to put a link to the cookies? If you have a Trader Joe's near you, we don't get, this is not a paid this is not a paid advertisement. Trader Joe's. These things are so good. It's a shortbread cookies with raspberry filling. Jesus, this should be like a Schedule 1 drug. These things are addictive. Yeah, Roxanne's work. See, this is why. This is why I stay. See, this is why I don't put this stuff out like that. Okay. If you haven't left a review for Stray Dogs, please do. I think it's hovering in the low hundreds, but because it's a new story and it's a new series, I understand. Like 167 or something. Please leave your reviews. I'm not even reading the comments because you guys are horrible. Okay. The Shadow Queen, which is Treadwell's Supernatural Directive Book 2, be coming out at the end of November. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you guys know. Entropy is about, I want to say a little bit more than halfway done, and it should be done by the end of this month, actually. So it'll be coming out at the end of this month. I'll let you know when the art opens, because I want to give you guys time for the art for Entropy, and I'm doing a few different things in this M&S, because again, it's closing off the trilogy that was within the long series. And so it's going to be a pivot in the series for this one. So this is book 21. And then after book 21, we're going to go into Corpse Road, which will be at the end of December. And then that's going to be, actually, Corpse Road is going to be more of what I'll tell you why I'm doing Corpse Row. Aside from the fact that it's the next story, it's more of a straight detective story because I got a comment, an email. It's like, yeah, these stories are heavy on the magic and light on the detecting. So this one's gonna be heavy on the detecting with a lot of magic sprinkled in, you know. So the name for the second Stray Dogs book is, well, they're not called, well, they are called the Stray Dogs, but the series is called the Treadwell Supernatural Directive. The name for the second book is called Shadow Queen, Jasmine. JL, thanks for dropping by, man. It's awesome to see you. It's always good to see you. Always good to see you. Thanks. Will we see some film noir? If there's any noir happening, it will probably be in Treadwell. Treadwell has a very noirish feel to it. So Treadwell's there, and okay, I'm gonna let you guys in on this on what's happening. So, well, Treadwell was very much like an old detective. Like they had a body in the beginning, they were finding out who it was, and so it's gonna be very much like that, right? What is this? Oh, really? Do we have the link? Let me put it up. So some of you may know this story, some of you may not. What I'm doing with one of the series is Blur. I don't know if you guys remember Blur. Not Shadow Queens, Shadow Queen. Yeah. Okay. So that's that link that's up now because I don't have it on my side. It's for the cookies that are super addictive, like these. Mm. Mm. They don't have a Trader Joe, I'm sorry. But you could probably get them shipped in. Check on Amazon, they might have it. They might have it. Or maybe Trader Joe has a website. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know about if Peaches is gonna have a DS Stalker hat. It's like a that heavy. When you were reading Stray Dogs, you can't hear nothing from my camera. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So what was I saying? Oh, so it's going to be so. All right. Oh, I was gonna share something that no one else really knows yet, except for probably Dolly. So I'm redoing Blur. It's gonna get a complete overhaul. The story is gonna be the same. I'm just gonna kind of bring it. I'm gonna. All right. Let me backtrack just a bit. I had a reader, an elderly reader, who reached out to me and said, "I read everything, but I really discovered you when I read Blur." And I went, Blur? Geez, that's like so long ago. And then he said, well, it's been 10 years. My face dropped, right? Because I'm thinking, wow, I really dropped the ball with Sepia, waiting 4 years between the books, right? And here I am, Blur was 10 years ago. First of all, I can't believe it was 10 years ago, right? Because I'm like, how can it be 10 years ago? I can't, there's no way I've been doing this for 10 years. And I checked the date, and yes, it has been 10 years. And so he said, would you do an old dog a favor? And if it's possible, can you continue the story of Blur? And my initial reaction is, I can't. There's no way, because I was a different person when I wrote it. That's 10 years ago. Are you kidding? You're talking about the 10-year ago Orlando to not go back and finish that story? There's no way that could happen. But I didn't do the knee-jerk reaction. I waited. And what I did before I answered him was I read the first chapter of Blur. Again, I reread it. I went back. And I found myself continuing the story as I was reading it. I wasn't cringing. I wasn't like, because with Sepia I did that. I was like, oh my God, this is gonna take so much work. It's gonna be a nightmare to go back there and try to find that voice, right? But there's something about Blur. Blur is very much a, it was before I got heavy into the urban fantasy magic aspect. Blur has a very heavy martial arts mystic feel to it, right? And then you got this outsider, John Kane, is kind of thrown into this mystic world of martial arts, and he can blur. And so when I read the first chapter, I was like, I'm not cringy. It's not cringy. It just needs a bit of tweaking and maybe some adjusting. I can change the voice again and tighten this and fix that. But the story, the core, the bones are there. It's really good. I mean, I ended up rereading the book in like a day and a half. It was that good. I was just reading it. I said, okay, I answered that reader. I said, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to review the book again, and then I'm going to finish the series because it's a pentology. So it's 5 books because there are 5 disciplines. Blur is one of the 5 disciplines, right? Each discipline has a book, and you're following John as he goes through finding out what's going on and who's trying to kill him. And it's a really, if you haven't read Blur, you should read Blur. But it's going to get new covers. It's going to get a new treatment. It's going to get brought up to date, and then it's going to get back on Amazon. So Blur's, this is not a secret project, but no one really knows what's happening. So you guys are the first to hear. Besides Dolly, who already knew. Did you know? Did I tell you? Yeah, I'm almost always tell Dolly first. So you guys are the first to hear that Blur is going to get a kind of like a makeover and be brought up, and then the series is going to be finished. So I don't know where I'm going to fit Blur, but yeah, I'll get it done. But it's hard to pick up on, like Chris is saying, it's hard to pick up on an old project because as authors, as writers, you don't remain the same person. Yeah, and Chris do. You don't remain the same person. You change as an author, as a writer. You grow. I hope, hopefully you grow. You're evolving, you're changing, you're maturing. You're being exposed to different life experiences, and all of that informs your writing. So as you grow as an author, and this is why I always tell authors, you have a series, finish the series. It doesn't matter, finish the series. Don't do what I did, which is I was 3 books into Sepia, 1 book into Blur, into John Kane, and then I went and started Monty Strong. And that was the one that's the one where my voice really, I really found my voice. Oh, I'm 1 book into Chronicles of the Mystics too, Ava James. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and finish that too. That one I know I have to finish because I've been getting a lot of like readers who are like, when is Ava James gonna be done? So, and Ava James is even harder because Ava James, the Chronicles of the Modern Mystics, is so close to Monty and Strong. It was the book right before Monty and Strong was written. And the voice is really, it's just like right there. So that's going to be hard. It's easy and it's hard. So we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, M&S is when I found my voice. M&S is when my voice came through. If you look at the post that I put up on Thursday about art, and you saw how there was 2 Picassos, one was a portrait and one was Guernica. Guernica is the one that he's famous for. That piece, that the Impressionist and the Cubist piece that he wrote, that he drew, sorry. But he had done many, many portraits, many what's considered regular works that you wouldn't think, oh, that's Picasso. Because he was still finding his voice, his style. Once Cubism came into being and he did Guernica and he started painting the way only Picasso can paint, that's when his voice came, that's when his style came through. It's the same thing with Monty and Strong. I can write any other story and that's fine, but I am most comfortable when I'm writing Monty and Strong. I can flow in that world, which is why I can do Sebastian, I can do Treadwell, I can do Rule of the Council. Anything that's in the Monty and Strong world, I can have an easy time. But when it's really actually Monty and Strong, that is the easiest for me because that's where my voice is. Yeah, I think every creator has early work that we cringe at, for real, because... But when I read Blur, I was like, no, this is actually pretty good. Okay, I was partly tapping into something that I already kind of knew that was there without really knowing it, because I was reading the story and I just got immersed in the story and I was like following the story like, oh, did this happen? Because it's been 10 years since I really read that story. So I didn't remember all the details. I mean, I remember John and I remember a few of the characters and I remember the awesome characters, but I didn't remember the story that well. So as I'm getting into the story, and Dolly would tell you, because this happens all the time, I'll read something and I'll be like, whoa, that was excellent. And she looks at me like, weren't you the one who wrote it? But I'm like, yeah. But what happens is you get so many stories in your head, so many characters that, after a while, you kind of just put them to one side, put them in their own little rooms, and you got to go back in and check out and see, hey, what's going on, So Blur, I think out of all the early works, and then maybe that's why I was a little hesitant to go back to it. Blur was the one story that kind of touched on the voice that I kind of have now. So we'll see. And we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely going to do it. It's great. DDD has a cover to do for me, and I already gave them very specific branding ideas and directions to go in with it. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with. That's going to take a while, so we'll see. And because I really want to get it right, because I'm going to do those 5 books, and then I'm going to see, we'll see if it continues past that, because the John Kane series has legs. It could definitely be another Monty Strong in terms of length. It could be a lot of stories with John Kane. And so it would actually be my, what would be considered more of a straight thriller or a martial arts thriller story, as opposed to the more urban fantasy magical story. It would be more straight thriller. And that'd be fun. I mean, for me, that's fun to write as well, you know? Yeah, Warrior of the Way. Okay, so Warriors of the Way, I don't go back and touch at all. I think the only thing I did with Warriors of the Way was change the covers, but I'm not going back to touch that story at all. And Dahlia has mentioned it a few times. I'm like, no, no, not touching Warriors of the Way, not even with a 10-foot pole. I don't know what it is. Call it whatever you want to call it. I'm not going back to it. It was like, I barely remember the story. I barely remember the characters. It was, I think I was half conscious when I wrote that story, which is why I won't go back and touch it, because I don't want to mess with that, you know? So I'll mess with Blur, because Blur, I could see myself adding to it and growing it. And I actually have a lot of the following books, a lot of the pentologies already laid out. So it's just a matter of putting the story to it. Yeah, and like Chris is saying, it's always good to step outside of it. That's just why I did the Dread Warlock, which I have to go back to. That I want to go back to, because that's a fun world, the Dread Warlock, you know, the Blackjacks. And Gideon Shepherd is another world I have to go back to. I have a few worlds I have to go back to. So straight sci-fi is excellent. The only thing about straight sci-fi, yes, Mary Beth, Silk is still the man. If Dan Fong were here, he'd second that. He'd second that for sure. Before I get to the straight sci-fi, the one thing I want to say about Silk is that Silk ends up visiting the Mountain Strong world later on. So that's awesome. Now, straight sci-fi, I'll tell you what, when I did the Blackjacks, the research on sci-fi, any sci-fi story, whether it's space opera or straight sci-fi or hard sci-fi, is that you're going to be doing a lot of research for not that much in the book, but it has to sound believable. And even if it doesn't exist yet, your research has to be solid. So yeah. Oh wait, what link is this? Oh, Amazon has it? That's awesome. So this is we're still pushing the shortbread cookies. So it's on, this is Amazon, right? Yeah, it's Amazon. So it's on Amazon. This is the box. Pum pum. Shortbread cookies. All right, so yeah, listen, go for the sci-fi. I say try it, do it, because that's what we do. I can only speak from my own personal experience, right? But I can tell you that when I started Warriors of the Way, I based it on my own martial arts experience, right? Because I have a lot of martial arts experience over 3 decades, which is why it's so heavy in that story. And that spilled over into Blur, obviously, because I was still very much in the martial arts, and I still use martial arts, right? But Blur has a nice feel to it, because it's not just martial arts. There is some espionage thriller. You're dealing with old Japanese clans and special abilities that belong to those clans, and how they guard those abilities, and why you can't have more than one ability. It's really, there's a lot of intrigue, which is very good. So Ray's saying, is there a resource that lists the M&S Universe books in the chronology? Fantastic Fiction, I believe, has it. I'm fairly new to the universe, but I'm up to date on M&S, reading the other stuff, Rules of Council, short stories, and it seems to slot in different places. I love to be able to follow along the chronology. Ooh, listen, chronologically is going to be tough, but Fantastic fiction is going to be the closest to. I think. Well, my fantastic Facebook user is going to give me the link, and I'll put it up. You can go there. Pack of 2 for $25. That's crazy, but it's at $2.29 at the store. Yeah, it's crazy. If you don't have a Trader Joe's, it's going to be an expensive, very expensive purchase. But Trader Joe's is like $2.29. And that's not a sponsored segment. It really isn't. They don't. Trader Joe's not sponsoring us. Ray, go to that link and you'll have type in my name, and then you'll find, or I think that link sends you right to me, and then you'll find everything that has been written. It's kind of chronologically, but it's organized. It's the best that I think you'll be able to find right now until we actually jump on it and do it. Yeah, for $25, it better be a whole case, really, and it's not. It's one box for 2 boxes for $25. Trader Joe, Amazon better. You got to do better than that. That's not gonna happen. For that price, I kick that. Oh, it's a third party. Yeah, it's a third party seller. Yeah, for that, I kick the habit. Forget that. It's not gonna happen. $25 for 2 boxes. Kidding me? Escape Clause. Oh, that's gonna be good. So that's a nice title, Chris. So do your research. You're gonna do a lot of research for sci-fi. Who was it that said it has to be technobabble? It's a Facebook user. Higher. Mark, yes. I agree. In the Blackjack, the Dread Warlock, there's a lot of technobabble. But it's just, you have to make it sound believable. That's the thing. But I had to do a lot of research. I had to do a lot of research on fusion engines and how fusion works, how fission works, how objects move in space because you don't have drag and things like that. So you have to understand the physics of bodies in space. What else did I have to do? Since I added magic to the world, it's a very strict magic system that's different from any other magic system. So and then there's like adding the big corporate name of Conglom, which is a conglomerate, and they're the big bad guys. And so if you're writing sci-fi, the sci-fi aspect of your sci-fi story, even if it's completely made up, but you have completely made it up, you have to make it sound believable. Like the world that you create with the sci-fi that you create in that world has to work, has to make sense. It doesn't have to be real, but it has to make sense. A perfect example of that, if you haven't read it, and I suggest it, is the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. She has great sci-fi. It's not heavy sci-fi. It's sci-fi, but it works in her world. And you're inside the head of one of these murder bots. It's the main character. And it's a great series, and they're short. I think they're like 100 pages. They're like novellas. But she writes excellent. And she's won like a whole bunch of like Hugos and Nebulas and all these great sci-fi awards, right? So you gotta research. And the research for sci-fi is worse than I won't say worse. It's more extensive than the research for other books, for sure. Yeah. So I was able to combine it. Oh, the 3-body problem. Jeez. I haven't even started that one. The 3-body problem is a really deep sci-fi book also that has so many accolades. It's like so well known. Again, I think they made a show out of it, a movie or a series or something. Huh? Yeah, I think they made a movie, or it's either a movie or a show, the 3-body by, I forgot, how do you say the name? Xin Liu. So, yeah, so that's another sci-fi. Like, you're going to have to read some sci-fi, for instance. You can't just depend on the sci-fi that you've read your whole life. You're going to have to read some sci-fi. So have fun with that, because it's going to help you bring your writing where it needs to be for sci-fi. Like, I read a lot of sci-fi prior to writing the Blackjacks. So I'm putting up links so you guys can see kind of like, that's the 3-body problem. Okay. And, oh, you got it? Okay, good. All right, what are we doing? What's this? Oh, we're that's right. We got, okay, cool. Yeah, your brain's gonna hurt a lot more, Chris. Get ready. Mm. Okay, so yeah, Chris's book here, Mixed Magic. Let me know when it comes up. It'll come up eventually at some point. It never comes up on my face, on my side. And then, geez, Chris, oh, maybe it hasn't really been shown at all. Okay, here we go. Show. Boom. Bye, Connie. Hope you have a good doctor's appointment. You can rewatch it later. Awesome. And if you made it this far and you're watching this later on, thank you so much for watching this. And sorry you can't be here with us live, but you're here and you're watching it. And I really do appreciate that. Did Chris's link come up yet? Oh, good. Okay, here's another one. Murderbot Diaries. All right, so any plans to return to the Blackjacks in the foreseeable future? Yes, at some point. 2024, I'm going to jump into all these little kind of novellas, short stories that need to get done, because I just want to wrap up all those so I can do the full-length novels. But the Blackjacks is a lot of fun, so I'll be doing that too. That'll be a lot of fun. Oh, I had a great line. See, I remember these things. In Blackjack, it was like, you can come out and die. You can die in the closet. Or you can come out and die in my kitchen. It's like great lines, fantastic lines. I was discussing this with Chris. That sometimes you get these lines that just wake you up that you have to write, And then, like, I have a few lines in the Blackjacks that are like that. A few lines. I think I have a few lines in every story where it's things like that. Most of the memorable lines that I have are in Monty Strong, obviously, because of Simon and Monty as well. But Sebastian has some great lines too. And who else has some great lines? There are a few characters that have like really, really. Oh, Gray has fantastic lines. I gotta write more Gray too. Oh my God. I gotta clone myself is what I gotta do. I just gotta clone myself. All right, let's get to the questions because we have questions. And always awesome to answer the questions. So I'm not at the screen. I can see the questions, then see your comments, but I can see the questions. Okay. So before I start, thank you so much for these questions because again, every show I say this. You got the questions add a great dimension to our shows. So thank you again for the questions. So Chris Mendoza asks, have you ever come to the final scene, the end of a book, and pause not wanting the story to end? Yes, a few times. There were a few stories where, let's see, a lot of them were Monty and Strong. The first time that I experienced that was the last book of Warriors of the Way, because I knew it was the last book of the series. And you kind of have this feeling of like, you don't want to let it go. At the same time, you have to. So it was a tug. It was a tough one. So that was the first time. The most recent time was Sepia, where I finished the book because that had a 4-year gap in between the books, between Nightmare and Nameless, and then Nameless and Demon. And then at the end of Demon, it was interesting because I couldn't finish Demon without me being where I am right now, finishing Demon the way I finished it. And I knew it was the end of the book, even though I left it semi-open-ended, if I ever wanted to go back to that world. But I also knew that it was the end of Sepia, the end of that series. And so I didn't really want to get to the end because I knew it was the end. But at the same time, I knew, hey, we've been waiting a long time, so let's get it done. But yeah, that final scene, that last moment, that wrapping up, what is it, denouement? The denouement, as they say. It can be bittersweet. It's tough. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, oh, I can't imagine what it's gonna be if I ever write the final Monty Strong book, because that would be. I don't think I could do that one. That was gonna be like, oh no. I'll be adding chapter after chapter after chapter. So no. Okay, that was a great question, Chris. Thank you. Audrey's question. Let's start with Dolly's. Dolly, what do you wish still existed? Any item, show, food, product, etc. Yes. First, the best one is first. Yeah. The best question.
I just don't remember. I would say
Fanta pineapple doesn't exist in the United States.
Oh, no, I don't.
But you don't drink soda, but Fanta pineapple. You would drink Fanta pineapple. Yeah. All right. Next kind of question. Next question from Audrey. What historical event would you like to have attended or been a part of? Wow. That list is just too long. Like I would have loved to see the pyramids go up. Some of the major things happening, like the building of the Empire State Building, the building of the Statue of Liberty, crossing oceans for the first time. So many things that I would love to be part of attended. There's so many concerts, speeches, events that I would love to have been part of that is no way I could be now, except for watching it on YouTube. So, but yeah, the list is just endless. It's too long, but that's a great question, Audrey. Thank you. Last question from Audrey. Orlando, what kind of research do you do when writing? Oh, we're just touching on this. So it depends on the story that I'm doing. So like right now I'm writing Entropy for Monty Strong. So a lot of my research has to do with actual entropy, what it is, in terms of how is it in physics and science, what does entropy mean, how it applies, what are the symbols for entropy, and what are some of the definitions of entropy that I can apply to the story and how it fits into the story. And it's really interesting. Entropy is really interesting. There are a few terms that are not just entropy, but entropy out of all of them, it's deep, and at the same time, in terms of science, it's been determined that it's inescapable, that it's present and happening no matter what we do. We're all in the midst of entropy at some point. So that's the kind of research I do. So in terms of other things within the writing, it depends. If I'm writing about a weapon, like I was writing with Sebastian Treadwell, and I was writing about karambits, even though I'm familiar with karambits, I had to research what a karambit was, and I had all these pages of blades. And that is like, what's with the blades? What, are you buying a knife? What's going on? It's like, I might buy a karambit. It's like, you don't need a karambit. So, but I had a whole bunch of pages of blades, fixed blades, folded blades, what a karambit is, how it works, how kind of training you need for it, just so I could put that into the book for Sebastian, because those are the weapons that he uses. And so I need to kind of the background, what culture uses it the most, why was it developed. So much. It's staggering how much research goes into something that appears to be just a kind of a throwaway in a story, but it's really not. In terms of the other things that, let's say, in terms of the stray dogs, all the zodiac signs that are in the stray dogs, they're all Chinese zodiac signs. I had to study it, and I know it more or less, but I had to research the Chinese zodiac and what each sign means and what's the temperament of each kind of sign and what time of the year it happens and whether they rotate and how they interact and which sign goes with which sign, and do horses and rats work together or tigers and dragons work? It's like a whole, so that kind of research. Every story that I read, let me clarify. Every story that I write has an incredible amount of research that is behind the scenes. You don't ever really see it. It's just there, and you'll see it in the conversation sometimes between characters, and they'll say something that I'll give you a recent example. So, without spoiling, can I do this without spoiling? I guess I can. It has to do with entropy, and it has to do with the Latin term for the arrow of time. And the arrow of time is a concept that is peculiar or particular to entropy, because entropy works with time, right? Because everything is heading towards entropy. So there's a present and there's a future, and in the future there's entropy. So you have an arrow of time, which is the space between the present and the future entropy. And that gap in between is considered the arrow of time. And so that little bit right there, that is a lot of research. So I had to look up the Latin terminology of it, and it's used in the story in entropy, and why is it used in entropy? And then that becomes a group that believes in entropy, and why Galt is doing what Galt is doing, and how does that impact the fact that he wants the first elder root. So you see how it's all gets kind of connected, and it gets involved. And that's the kind of research I do when I'm writing, Audrey. And there you have it. I think that's a good answer. Thank you for the great question, Audrey. It's awesome. Oh, let's see. This thing's still here. Let me get rid of this. That's me. Whoa. Yeah, M&S is a never-ending story for sure. But he got ninjas, not authors. Who's that? That Mark? Yeah, I figured. Eat Thai food. What is this? Clone Orlando, eat Thai food? Are we? Oh, he clones himself? Oh. I took down the banner, yes. Okay, it's impossible to pick just one. Yeah, for the events that I would like to be part of, Audrey, historical events, there are so many across so many spectrums, across so many things in life and history that there's just no way to pick one. It's so broad and so amazing. Like I'd love to see pre-war Europe, and then I'd love to have been there when the Tsars existed, and see the Great Wall of China go up, and things like it's so many different things. It's too hard to pick one. You know. When did I really start writing? Who's that? Oh, they are young yet. I don't understand. Oh, my children are young. Oh, when did I start writing? Jeez. When did I start writing? Well, 10 years ago. Well, I started writing journals when I was young. Yeah. Yeah, my teenage moments of like nobody understands me and the world doesn't comprehend the complexity of the depth of my being kind of thing. Yeah, that was way back. I was a teenager, right? And you know, my mom doesn't understand me and she doesn't know what I'm going through, and she was never young like I was, and the whole thing. So, but writing, I want to say professionally, I guess, not really, I guess, about 10 years. And the little ones are still young. I have different groups in the tribes. I have the older tribe and the younger tribe. The younger tribe is still young. Yes. But when I started writing, they were babies. And how was Z was around when I started writing. This is 12, 13. So the youngest was 3 when I started writing, really writing. Yeah. So that's how long I've been writing. How long was Z when I started Spiritual Warriors? No, Ray was around. Who was in the belly? Ray was in the belly when you were typing? All right, so they were all one was being incubated, and the other ones were still thoughts when I started writing. I'll take Mom's word for it. Let's see, no matter how much you put something together, entropy will eventually, destroy and end it. Yep. Okay, rabbit, loyal and patient. A rabbit with a metal. Okay. That's why Doctor Who is always shouting. Yes, that's why he's always shouting. See, the first book was published in 2012, but that's not when I first started writing. That's what we're saying, right? Chris says the first book was published in 2012, but that's not when I first started writing. No. Dolly was pregnant with the warrior boy and was transcribing my scribbles into something legible. So that's 17 years ago. 17 years ago. Yeah, I was writing prior to meeting Dolly. Yeah. Oh yeah, Blur was the first one. That's right. Yeah. The Fantastic Fathers is a nonfiction book I wrote it though. It's done. Yeah, and it's never been published, but it's actually a really good book. I should put it out. Fantastic Fathers. Yeah, and the General Contractor. Jeez, yeah. Yes, Dolly was pregnant typing the manuscript. She was, I would give her yellow notepads like this, This is what I would write longhand on, things like this. I would hand them to Dolly, and she'd decipher the hieroglyphics into actual stuff, and she would type it while she had a belly. So yes, and yeah, Mom is always right. So we'll leave that alone. I'm gonna defer to she knew. So yeah, yeah. It's a philosophical thing for the purpose in terms of the time thing. In terms of this book, Entropy, time is linear in that sense. It's headed towards the end of everything. Oh, you were thinking about my age compared to the tribe's age? My age? I don't know. I'm ageless. I am ageless. I don't know what that means. Is that Tina again? In regards to the tribe, well, the second group of the tribe I had was considered late, right? Because I'm in my 50s now, and they're all tiny. But that's like I had them what's considered late in life. But yeah, they're young, and I started that group. I started later on when I was seasoned, you know. So yeah, and this is true. If you want something done, you get someone busy to do it because they'll find the most efficient way to do it. That's something that I don't know if it was Bill Gates or Steve Jobs said it was. They said it in an interview. They said if I want something done and I want to find the best way to get it done, I'll give it to someone who is busy because they will find the best way to get it done efficiently because I have to get it done in the midst of everything else that they're doing. Yeah, Chris, I was an early father and I was a late father. So I was both. So it just happens, you know? Who said if you want to get something done, get someone busy? Yeah, it's very true. That's what and I have discovered that this is the case. It does work that way. Okay, what do I have here? What is this? I have more stuff here. Jeez. Okay, so the audiobook, we got a complaint that why we only at Revenant. Think about that. It's funny. Revenant, the audiobook is out. Go get it. If you haven't gotten it, go get it. It's on our webpage. Or it's on Audible too. So go get it.
It's on many other retailers.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
It's on
Kobo, Nook, Binge Books, Scribe, right? Who else?
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's all our audiobooks are though, right?
It's supposed to be Google Play.
Google Play. Jeez, it's everywhere.
I don't see it yet on Apple.
It should be. It will be. All right, so it's getting spread out.
Hopefully the libraries will pick it up.
And eventually, hopefully, the libraries will grab it as well. So go get Revenant. All our audiobooks will have that treatment, right? Have that treatment that they're everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, all. Okay, if they're not there, let us know. We'll see if we can get it there. But all our audiobooks are wide.
The website is where you want to be.
But you want to go to the website first because you get discounts at the website, which is good. Let's see. At the store, we have autograph books are coming soon?
Yes.
Autograph books are coming soon. Awesome. So yeah. Yeah, the website, which Dolly got a web designer to do and then has revamped it and made it look awesome. So if you haven't seen the website, you should go to the website and check it out. Just give it a whirl. Go look around and see. You might have everything that's there, but just go look at it and see it. It's because it looks awesome. What's the link? Can I have the link for the website? And yeah, if you want to get if there's an audiobook on the website that you haven't gotten that you want, use that code AudioMob and you get 20% off the book. Stacy wants to know, and hello, Stacy from YouTube. How do you keep track of what happened when and who does, has, says what from book to book? Okay, all right, let me put this link up, Stacy, real quick. All right, this is the link. Bye, Jasmine. Say hello to Stacy for me, please. Have a fantastic weekend. So we've got this is a great question, Stacy. Okay, so I've discussed this concept before, and it's something if you like Sherlock Holmes or Arthur Conan Doyle, it's a concept of a mind palace, right? And this is a great episode when Sherlock Holmes has an enemy who has a mind palace. I forgot. I'll find out what that episode is, but It's the most recent Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's a great episode because you get to see the nemesis. It's not Moriarty; it's another one, and this guy goes into his mind palace. So a mind palace, the concept of a mind palace is not. It's not only in Sherlock Holmes. It's an old concept. It's basically you create a mind palace or a mind mansion or a mind map, depends on how you want how it's called, and you assign areas in your brain, in your head for different things. So I have an area that's called Mountain Strong, and I can remember pretty much everything that's in Mountain Strong. I have an area called Blur. I have an area called Sepia, an area called, and basically what you do is you're kind of walking into these rooms. If you want to make it opening filing cabinets and looking for what happened there. So it depends on how you want to set it up. But then once you do that, and you compartmentalize it, it gets easy to remember what happens in this story, in this book, or in this series. It gets easier. So that's how I do it. And I have written stuff too, of course, because I outline all my books. But it's really, I can really easily access things just by thinking about it. Go into the room that's Mountain Straw. Okay, what did Peaches do in the Golem? Oh, he discovered his baleful glare, and that's when he really fired it against the Golem. And so I can just go that way, you know. If your elevator doesn't go to the top floor, then you build down. In other words, and you have what's called mnemonic devices that help you remember even more. So then you create a lot of notes, you write down everything, and that way if your elevator doesn't go to the top floor because it gets stuck somewhere in the other floors, your mnemonic devices will help you remember things. You have triggers. And that's one of the ways to make your memory better is I've seen people who have like fantastic memories. They use triggers to, like, let's say I want to remember that, and whatever works for you is what you use, right? So if I want to remember that my cup has an Iron Man on it, I would say my cup is gray, iron is gray, Iron Man, my cup has an Iron Man, things like that. So you use these triggers, and that helps you also. I mean, those are strategies that people with fantastic memories use. So there you go. Yeah, Evan, it was a great episode. It was fantastic. And when you realize that the memory palace is in his mind, it's like, whoa, it blows you away because you're thinking it's an actual place. And he had these files somewhere, and he had the files. He close his eyes, he would go, oh, here's the file right here. And then he would open it, and he would read it. And he had all this dirt on people, but it was never in an actual physical place. It was all in his mind. It's awesome. It was a great, great episode. It was one of the best Sherlock episodes because it showed Sherlock meeting someone besides Moriarty, who was his intellectual peer. And that's always good to show. It's like when Sherlock faces off against Moriarty, and you see that they're on even ground. The Moriarty in the Sherlock series with Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor that plays that Moriarty was fantastic. So if you haven't seen that series of Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, you should definitely watch it. I keep mangling his name, and then I'm going to ask him to play Monty in the movie. He's going to accept because I keep mangling his name. I keep thinking that Benedict Cumberbatch is the perfect Monty with Ryan Reynolds as the perfect Simon. I think that'd be perfect. But if I keep mangling his name, he may not like me asking him to be Monty. He might got it. Yeah, they were playing 4D chess, maybe 5D at that point because it's ridiculously complicated. And I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched it, but you should watch Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch. And the characters, this is what any author aspires to when writing characters. Like, for example, Batman is like 80 years old at this point, and I just watched the most recent Batman movie, which was way too long, but it was okay, right? But this is a character that was created 80 years. I mean, Batman's a senior citizen at this point. But in the same vein, Sherlock Holmes is an old character past 70 years because he's in the public domain. So his character, when Doyle wrote him, when Arthur Conan Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes, initially he was in magazines, and Doyle got so tired of Sherlock as a character that he killed him off. And then the outcry was so great by the readers that he had to find a way to resurrect him and bring him back, because everyone was so upset that he killed Sherlock. That's what you want as an author. You want to create characters that memorable, that real, that important to people, that if you try to kill them, you'll create an uproar. That's what you want to do. So like, you can't kill Batman. I know it's been tried, but you can't kill Superman. That's been tried several times. It always comes back. You can't kill Sherlock. These are characters that are no longer just characters. They're part of the mythos of society. And even to the point where Sherlock is a verb, like, you know, when people say, oh, you're a real Sherlock, you know, it's become part of the lexicon. Ooh, lexicon. So yeah, so that's what you want to do. So yeah, who's that? Who threatened me with harming people? Yeah, well, I already learned that lesson, Mark. You don't ever hurt the dog. You can't. That'll get you hurt. It'll get you really hurt. Okay. Oh, we have in the authors. Where are our links? Let's get that, because I know it's half the time. But all right, we'll save the indie authors for the next show. We'll do those first, Chris. But you know what we say? We support our indie authors. So we've got, there's so many of them. It's like John Logsdon, Chris Chrisman, Nazmi Noor, Jonathan Yanez, Ben Zakheim, Nicole Grotepas. Trying to remember if there's more. There's more. Jonas Cease, Rachel Carr. Rachel Carr has a new release, The Final Girl Part 1. So go grab it. Oh, geez, there's so many. Yeah, so many. Oh, she's the only new release? Awesome. So Rachel Carr has a new book. Go grab it. I'm going to click on the link because I know we're after time, but come on, our indie authors. We support our indie authors. I need a shirt for the mob that says we support our indie authors. Yes, I don't have my shirt though. Who do I need to see to get things done in this place? Ooh. I have a few self-published mysteries. Bloody Murder is the first. So Kate has a few published mysteries. Bloody Murder. So again, we'll put the links together for our next show. Our next show is when? What's today? 6th. So the 13th. The 20th. Oh, you're thinking a week. The 20th. Oh, guys, these things go by so fast. Any update on the Peach Stuffies? After this, speak to my disbursement person, and then she'll get in touch with you. Who's this? Who's that? Anthony? Oh, Mark. Yeah, when my person who wears like 10,000 hats gets to it, she's definitely researching it though. You just managed to catch us, Marie, and we're leaving. So you came in just under the wire because we were late to leave, but here you go. I'm happy you're here. All right, so guys, look, we'll go through the list of authors next time. Let's do that first, Chris, because I don't want to miss out mentioning the authors. It was nice to have a cameo by JL today. But no, please support your indie authors. It's really important. Buy their books, leave the reviews. It really helps authors. Oh, what's the question, Rico? It's about stray dogs, and we did the Treadwell Directive. Where did the Treadwell Directive come from? The name or the actual directive? Thank you, Audrey, for the great questions. Audrey's on a streak. I don't think she's missed a question yet. Audrey has a super streak. You're welcome, Kate. Where did the Treadwell Directive come from? The name, the group? You need to be more specific. Oh, like the background on it. Oh, did you read the book? Did I not mention that in the book? I don't know. Did I mention where the directive came from? Thank you, Mary Beth, for being here and visiting and participating. It's awesome to have you guys here. I'm not being facetious, Rico. The Treadwell. So, okay, here's the thing. If you've read anything that I've written, you realize that I don't do info dumps right away. So I'll probably If I haven't explained where the directive came from, although I'm pretty sure I alluded to it, like it was Simon Sebastian who created it, because it's called the Treadwell Supernatural Directive. I will explain it in the further books, because there's a lot of history there that needs to be kind of detailed. So it'll come out. Look at it this way. Despite all the romance in Monty and Strong with Michigo and Simon, no one knows when they met. And we're 20 books in. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of history there that needs to you'll learn more. If you're on page 66, yeah, you'll have a little bit more to read, and it's explained a little further on, but it's not given like this is where they met, this is how they met. It'll come out in the story as you read. Yeah. So it's like Two Nuts and Butterflies, which is the first Monty and Strong book. You meet Monty and Simon, and then you just it hits the ground running, and you just keep going with them and kind of trying to keep up with what they're doing and who are these people and what it's like that. So that's kind of the way I write. I used to think about info dumps, and I realized that they don't work too well, you know. So, but that's when you're first starting out as a writer, when you're a beginner writer, you want to kind of give all the information out, and then you realize later on you want to kind of hold that back just a bit and start sharing about the characters later, little by little, and let people get to know them the way you would get to know a new friend. So yeah. All right. Wow. Geez, time. God, it goes by so fast. Okay. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Thank you. I really appreciate all of you for being here. You guys are awesome. Please don't forget to share our YouTube channel with everyone so we can grow to our 1K, which would be fantastic. That's our goal, 1K. They're not really from another book. If you read, what was it, Archmage? If you read Archmage, you'll meet Sebastian and his group, but not in depth. Linda, have a great weekend. I want to wish you all a great weekend. If you're in the east where we are, I think it's going to rain, so stay dry. And wherever you are, please be well. And so I want to give you the 3 Bs. What are the 3 Bs? Be kind, be unstoppable, and be uncommon. And guys, have a great, great weekend. Thank you so much. Share that channel on YouTube. Get other people to subscribe. They don't have to join the mob. So they can just subscribe to the YouTube channel. I need your help getting us to 1K. That would be so awesome. All right? And then we'll take it from there. We'll go from 1K, 10K, to 100K, to 1 million. So the end goal is 1 million, but let's start with 1K. And I know you guys can help us get there. Thank you guys for being here today. Every show is awesome when you're here. Have a great, great weekend. Where's my cheer squad? Woo! Oh, there you go. That's my ending cheer squad. Bye, guys. I'm ending it. Bye.